Good morning to one and all. My name is P. Subbareddy. Present I am working in AP Residential Junior College, Nagarjuna Sagar. Today we are going to discuss about the first chapter in second year intermediate, solid state. The main objectives of this lesson are general characteristics of solid state, types of solids, that is crystalline, amorphous solids, then classification of crystalline solids, X-ray crystallography, Bragg's equation, then unit cells and crystal lattices, and 7 types of crystal lattices, calculation of number of atoms in unit cell, BCC, FCC, HCP, CCP, simple cubic structure, and close packed structures, discussion of close packed structures like cubic close packing, hexagonal close packing, then calculation of packing efficiency and density, and finally crystal defects, stoichiometric and non-stoichiometric defects like Frenkel defect, Schottky defects. These two are very important. And due to the pandemic situation of COVID-19, the syllabus has been reduced to 70%. 30% of the syllabus deleted. So therefore the last two topics in the solid state, that is electrical properties, semiconductors, and magnetic properties are not in syllabus. So therefore in this lecture 1, present we will discuss general characteristics of solid state and types of solids. So this lecture 1, general characteristics of solid state. From previous classes, we had learned that matter can mainly exist in 3 physical states. Those are solid state, liquid state, and gaseous state. So matter can mainly exist in 3 physical states: solid state, liquid state, and gaseous state. How these physical states can be exist? Under a given set of conditions of temperature and pressure, the most stable state of a given system, under a given set of conditions of temperature and pressure, the most stable state of a given system depends upon the net effect of intermolecular forces and thermal energy. So matter can mainly exist in 3 physical states: solid, liquid, and gaseous state. Which state is feasible at a particular condition? It is entirely depend upon net effect of intermolecular forces of attractions and thermal energy. So the net effect of intermolecular forces and thermal energy decides the most stable state, whether the substance can exist in either solid state or liquid state or gaseous state. It is entirely depending upon the net effect of intermolecular forces and thermal energy only. What are intermolecular forces? Already we have studied in first year intermediate intermolecular forces. So intermolecular forces are the forces of attractions between constituent particles. Already you had learned in states of matter chapter in intermediate first year, states of matter. Intermolecular forces are forces of attractions between the constituent particles. Constituent particles means atoms, they may be atoms or ions or molecules. Constituent particles may be atoms. For example, noble gases. Noble gases are always exist as atomic state only, not molecular state or ionic state. So, in noble gases, the constituent particles are atoms. For example, some ionic crystals are there, sodium chloride, cesium chloride, or any other ionic compound. In those compounds, the constituent particles are ions. In ionic compounds. And some substances are exist as molecules. Phosphorus is represented as P4. Sulfur is represented as SCH. In these, the constituent particles are molecules. So intermolecular forces are forces of attractions between the constituent particles. So these intermolecular forces always tends to keep constituent particles close together. Intermolecular forces are always tends to keep molecules close together. The molecules close together. Molecules in that sense, if the substance is a molecule or any constituent particle, tends to keep constituent particles close together. Due to the attractive forces between these two constituent particles, they are always close together. Whereas thermal energy. What is thermal energy? The energy arises due to movement of the particles. The energy arises due to motion of particles. Energy arises due to motion of particles is thermal energy. So thermal energy is always tends to keep apart the particles. Thermal energy is arises due to motion of the particles or movement of the particles. So therefore, it is always tends to keep apart the molecules or particles, away the particles. So the most stable state is net effect of these two opposing forces, intermolecular forces and thermal energy. Net effect of these two opposing forces, there is existence of most stable state. For example, in solid state, for example, how solid state exists for a given substance, how solid state exists. If at sufficiently low temperature, so these two always depends upon temperature and pressure conditions. These two always depends upon the temperature and pressure conditions. At sufficiently low temperature, it means that thermal energy low. If thermal energy low, temperature is always directly proportional to kinetic energy. If thermal energy low, movement of molecules is also lower due to lower kinetic energy. Temperature is directly proportional to kinetic energy. If temperature decreases, then kinetic energy decreases. Motion of molecules is also decreases. Then what happens? If kinetic energy decreases, molecules come closer together. Constituent particles close together. Due to lower thermal energy, constituent particles close together at some equilibrium distance. Existence of intermolecular forces of attractions. At some equilibrium distance between these two constituent particles, if they may be molecules, there is existence of intermolecular forces of attractions at equilibrium distances. At that particular situation, the substance exists as solid state. At equilibrium distances, the intermolecular forces of attractions exist. After the existence of intermolecular forces of attractions, the molecules come closer. At this particular distance, there is strong intermolecular forces of attractions. There is strong intermolecular forces of attractions. So that physical state is known as solid state. So finally, the most stable state is the net effect of the two opposing forces, intermolecular forces of attractions and thermal energy. So the solid state is always exists at sufficiently low temperature. If thermal energy is low, temperature is low, kinetic energy is also low, because the temperature is directly proportional to kinetic energy. If kinetic energy decreases, what happens? Movement of molecules decreases. Motion of molecules decreases. So then close together. Then operation of intermolecular forces of attractions. Operation of intermolecular forces at this particular stage, there is strong intermolecular force of attractions. The substance exists as solid state. So the major difference between these two states, intermolecular forces of attraction. The intermolecular forces of attractions may be dipole-dipole interactions, dipole-induced dipole interactions, London forces, or hydrogen bonding, any other. Intermolecular forces of attraction strongest in solid state. Arrangement of constant particles are like this. Moderate intermolecular forces of attractions. Very weak intermolecular forces of attractions in gaseous state. Moderate intermolecular forces of attractions. Very weak intermolecular forces of attractions in gaseous state. So the major difference regarding intermolecular force of attractions, in solid state there is strongest intermolecular forces of attractions. In liquid state, moderate intermolecular forces of attractions. Gaseous state, almost negligible intermolecular forces of attractions, or very weak intermolecular forces of attractions. Therefore, these two states, liquids and gaseous states, are also called as fluids. These two are called as fluids. They can possess the property fluidity. Liquids and gases possess a physical property fluidity. What is fluid? Fluidity is nothing but the ability to flow. Fluidity is nothing but ability to flow. So in liquid state and gaseous state, due to weak intermolecular forces of attractions, the constituent particles are randomly moved in all possible directions. Due to very weak attractions, they can move in all possible directions. And this particular situation, the molecules are having three types of motions. Those are rotatory motion, vibratory motion, and translatory motion. In these particular states, molecules are randomly or freely move in all possible directions. Randomly or freely move in all possible directions, because these molecules are having three types of motions: rotatory, vibratory, translatory motions. Therefore, these are all called as fluids. Fluidity is nothing but ability to flow. Why these can flow in all possible directions? Due to very weak intermolecular forces of attractions. And not only that, these are having three types of motions: rotatory, vibratory, and translatory motions. But in case of solid state, there is only vibratory motion. Due to strongest intermolecular forces of attractions, the constituent particle, even though strongest intermolecular forces of attractions, these are having vibratory motions. The constituent particles are in fixed positions. The constituent particles are in fixed positions. And they can vibrate or oscillate from their mean positions. The constituent particles are in fixed positions and they can vibrate or oscillate from their mean positions. Even though strongest intermolecular forces, they can vibrate from this direction or left hand side, right hand side, or above or down side. So only vibratory motion. Therefore, these are not fluids. So these are only exist in solid state. And now we are going to discuss about, or we will discuss about general characteristics of solid state. General characteristics of solid state. First one, solid state. Solids have definite mass, volume and shape. Solids have definite mass, volume and shape. Second one, in solid state, constituent particles have strongest intermolecular forces of attractions. In solid state, the constituent particles have strongest intermolecular forces of attractions. Third one. So in solid state, interatomic or interionic distances are short. In solid state, interatomic or interionic distances are short distances. Solids are incompressible and rigid. Solids are incompressible and rigid. Can you compress this duster? Can you compress this duster? Or shall you compress a bench? Or shall you compress an iron table? It's not possible. Because in solid state, the constituent particles are in fixed positions and vibrate, and there is strongest intermolecular forces of attractions. Therefore, solids are incompressible and rigid. Strongest intermolecular forces of attractions. The constituent particles are in fixed positions and oscillate or vibrate about their mean positions. So, in solid state, the constituent particles are in fixed positions. Constituent particles are in fixed positions and oscillate or vibrate from their mean positions. The constituent particles are in fixed positions and oscillate or vibrate from their mean positions. So these are important characteristics of solid state: definite mass, volume and shape. Constituent particles have strongest intermolecular forces of attractions. Interatomic or interionic distances are short. Solids are incompressible and rigid. In solid state, the constituent particles are in fixed positions and oscillate or vibrate. And finally, the correlation between structure and properties. Discover new solid materials. So throughout this chapter, we can correlate the structure and properties. So difference in structure means difference in arrangement of constituent particles. So from one solid material to another solid material, what is the difference? Difference in arrangement of constituent particles is only the difference. So due to the difference, there will be variation in the properties also. So the correlation between structure and properties, discover new solid materials like superconductors, magnetic materials, silicon chips. Those are used in electrical materials or photovoltaic cells. So if you can correlate structure and properties, then we can discover the new solid materials like superconductors, magnetic materials, silicon chips. These are the application of the solid materials. Then types of solids. Types of solids. Due to the difference in arrangement of constituent particles. Difference in arrangement of constituent particles. What is the basis for classification of types? The basis is difference in arrangement of constituent particles. So due to the difference in arrangement of constituent particles, solids are classified into two types. Those are crystalline solids and amorphous solids. Crystalline solids and amorphous solids. So what is the basis for classification of solid materials or types of solids? The basis is difference in arrangement of constituent particles. There are two types of solids. Those are crystalline solids and amorphous solids. Now we will discuss what are the differences between crystalline solids and amorphous solids. Crystalline solids. Amorphous solids. What are the differences between crystalline and amorphous solids? Structure point of view. Structure. In structure point of view, what is the difference between crystalline solids and amorphous solids? Crystalline solids. What are crystalline solids? Definition. There is a regular arrangement of constituent particles. In crystalline solids, there is regular arrangement of constituent particles. That is, these are having definite geometrical shape. Definite geometrical shape. There is regular and repeated arrangement of constituent particles. So this is the structure of crystalline solids. Amorphous. Amorphous. A means without. Morphous means form or shape. So amorphous, according to Greek, A means without, morphous means form or shape. Amorphous. These are having no shape, no characteristic geometrical shape. So without shape, amorphous, amorphous, without shape, which means that amorphous solids are having no characteristic geometrical shape, which means that there is regular or randomly arrangement of constituent particles. There is irregular or randomly arrangement of constituent particles. Due to that, these are having no characteristic geometrical shape, amorphous. Whereas coming to crystalline solids, there is a regular arrangement of constituent particles in 3 dimensions. there is regular arrangement of constituent particles in 3 dimensions. Therefore, these are having definite geometrical shape. Amorphous, without form. A means without, morphous means form or shape. These are having no characteristic geometrical shape. Why means there is irregular or randomly arrangement of constituent particles. So these are the structure of crystalline solids and amorphous solids. Second, melting point. Melting point. Crystalline solids are having sharp melting point. Crystalline solids are having sharp melting point, whereas amorphous solids, no sharp melting point. These can soften on rising temperature. So amorphous solids are having no sharp melting point because these can soften on rising the temperature. This can soften on rising the temperature. Next one. And these can be molded and blown into various shapes. No sharp melting point, soften on rising temperature, molded and blown into different shapes. For this, best example is glass. So glass is an amorphous solid. All of you know, very well know that glass can be molded and blown into different shapes because glass is a super cooled liquid. Glass is a super cooled liquid. It is not a solid material. Therefore, it is softened on rising temperature or on heating, molded and blown into different shapes. No sharp melting point. Third one, order. Crystalline solids are having long range order. Crystalline solids are having long range order, whereas amorphous solids are having short range order. Long range order. Long range order means due to regular arrangement of constituent particles, the particles are repeated over periodic time and the order will be regular over long distances. Long distances. Long distances also regular arrangement of constituent particles. For example, sugar. Sugar is a crystalline solid. If you can pour the sugar on a table, taken in watch glass or table, throw it out, the order is regular. Or any crystalline solid, throw it out on the table or bench or on watch glass. If you can observe the order is regular order or long range order. From first sugar particle to last sugar particle, there is the same long range order. Whereas in case of amorphous solid, short range order. The arrangement is regular over short distances only. Sugar particles thrown like this, from starting particle to last particle. Structure is same due to regular arrangement of particles. So that is long range order. Short range order. Amorphous solids are short range order. So the regular arrangement is over short distances only. You can powder chalk or any other. Poured on table like this, vertically. If you can take powdered form of any substance and take watch glass and put it on that like this. So what is order? Short range order. Short range order. Here long range order. So that is the difference between amorphous and crystalline and amorphous solids. Crystalline solids are long range order, best example sugar. Amorphous solids are short range order because the regular arrangement is over short distances only. Any powdered substance. Fourth one, heat of fusion. What is the heat of fusion? Heat of fusion is the amount of heat required to convert 1 mole of solid into liquid. The amount of heat required to convert 1 mole of solid to liquid. 1 mole. So this is heat of fusion or enthalpy of fusion. So these have crystalline solids have definite and characteristic heat of fusion, whereas amorphous solids are having no definite characteristic heat of fusion. Crystalline solids are having definite and characteristic heat of fusion. Amorphous solids are having no definite characteristic heat of fusion. Fifth one, nature. Crystalline solids are true solids. Crystalline solids are true solids. What are true solids? Crystalline solids are true solids. True solids means solids which have shape and maintain it against mild distortion forces. Solids which have shape and maintain it at mild distorting forces. So true solids which have a shape and maintain it against mild distortion forces. If you can apply mild distortion forces, even though they can maintain their identity or their shape, those are called true solids. So solids which have shape and maintain it against mild distortion forces are called true solids. So next, coming to amorphous solids. These are supercooled liquids or pseudo-solids. Amorphous solids are pseudo-solids or supercooled liquids. Amorphous solids are pseudo. Pseudo means not original. Amorphous solids are pseudo-solids or supercooled liquids. Why? Because they can easily distort their shape against mild distortion forces. They can easily distort their shape against mild distortion forces. For example, glass. Glass can be molded into different shapes or different articles. Glass can be easily molded into different shape or articles because glass is a supercooled liquid or pseudo-solid. If you can heat the glass, it softens and you can easily mold it or blown into different shapes. Glass is a supercooled liquid or pseudo-solid. For example, the glass planes of windows. Glass planes of windows. Fixed to old buildings. Glass planes of windows. Windows ki glass doors fix cheste. What you will observe after a long time? The bottom is thicker than the top. So glass ni manam windows ki fix chesinappudu old buildings ki లాంగ్ టైం తర్వాత మనం అబ్జర్వ్ చేసినట్లయితే బాటంలో థిక్కర్గా ఉంటుంది టాప్తో పోల్చుకుంటే. ఎందుకంటే గ్లాస్ అనేది ఎప్పుడైతే మనకి సన్లైట్ వచ్చి గ్లాస్ మీద పడిద్దో ఆటోమేటిక్గా అది లిక్విడ్గా మారటం స్టార్ట్ అవుతుంది. లిక్విడ్గా మారటం స్టార్ట్ అయ్యి ఆ లిక్విడ్ అంతా కూడా బాటంలో సెటిల్ డౌన్ అవుతుంది. ఆ లిక్విడ్ అంతా కూడా స్లోగా, ఇది చాలా లాంగ్ ప్రాసెస్, బాటంలో సెటిల్ అవుతుంది. కాబట్టి బాటంలో, బికాజ్ ఇట్ ఈస్ ఎ సూపర్ కూల్డ్ లిక్విడ్, it is distorted against mild forces like temperature. Therefore, the glass plane is thicker at bottom compared to top. And one more important property is crystalline solids are anisotropic in nature. Whereas amorphous solids are isotropic in nature. Crystalline solids are anisotropic in nature, amorphous solids are isotropic in nature. These two terms are very, very important. and we will discuss next video. So finally, what are the differences between amorphous and crystalline solids? Regarding to structure, crystalline solids are regular. In crystalline solids, there is regular arrangement of constituent particles in 3 dimensions. Therefore, these are having definite geometrical shape. Key term is regular. In amorphous solids, A means without, morphous means form or shape. There is no characteristic geometrical shape because there is irregular or random arrangement of constituent particles. Key term is irregular or random. Coming to melting points, these are having sharp melting points, and amorphous solids are having no sharp melting points. Best example is glass, which are softened on rising temperature or heating. Order, crystalline solids are long range order, whereas amorphous solids are short range order. Heat of fusion, crystalline solids are having definite and characteristic heat of fusion, whereas amorphous solids are having no definite and characteristic heat of fusion. Nature, crystalline solids are true solids or original solids because they cannot easily be distorted by applying forces, whereas amorphous solids are pseudo solids or super cold liquids. Best example is glass. And finally, sixth one, crystalline solids are anisotropic in nature, amorphous solids are isotropic in nature. So what is the difference between anisotropy and isotropy? This is very important term. Anisotropy. Isotropy. Crystalline solids are anisotropic in nature. Amorphous solids are isotropic in nature. Anisotropic. Anisotropy means tropous. Isotropous. So tropous means direction. Tropous means direction. Iso means, you know that iso means same. Isoelectronic species, isotones, isostars, isoelectronic species, isotones, isobars, isotopes. You know that. In that, iso means same. N means no. Anisotropous. Isotropous. Iso means same. Tropous means direction. So this is the, if you can divide this term, anisotropy. What is the meaning? No same direction. Isotropy, tropous, same direction. Anisotropous. So anisotropy. What is the definition of anisotropy? Anisotropy means you can measure physical properties. If you can measure the physical properties like refractive index, electrical conductivity, thermal conductivity, elasticity, velocity of light. If you can measure the physical properties like refractive index, electrical conductivity, thermal conductivity, elasticity, velocity of light, or etc. These physical properties are different. These physical properties are different along different directions. These physical properties are different along different directions. This property is called anisotropy. So anisotropy, no same direction. That is different physical properties along different directions. Different directions means 3 dimensions. X, Y, Z axis. 3 dimensions. So anisotropous, no same directions. You can measure the physical properties. Those physical properties are different along different directions. That property is called anisotropy. For example, Nicol prism. It is a crystalline solid. Nicol prism is a crystalline solid. A ray of white light is passed through Nicol prism. A ray of white light is passed through Nicol prism. It splits into components. These two components are having different velocity of light. It splits into components. These two components are having different velocity of light, which means that this crystalline solid Nicol prism exhibits the property anisotropy. The physical properties are different along different directions. The physical properties are different along different directions. A second example. So this is a crystalline solid containing two different constituent particles. This is one kind of constituent particle, this is another kind of constituent particles. If you can measure a physical property along this direction, if you can measure a physical property along this direction, or if you can measure a physical property along this direction, this direction is AB and this direction is CD. If you can measure a physical property along AB direction and physical property along CD direction, the values will be different. CD will be different from AB. CD will be different from AB. Why? If you can observe the diagram, AB has only one kind of particle. AB has only one kind of constituent particles. AB has, in this direction, you will see in this direction, AB has only one kind of particles, whereas CD has two different kinds of particles. CD has two different kind of particles. Therefore, if you can measure the property along AB and CD direction, the values will be different, which means that this crystal can exhibit the property anisotropy. The physical properties are different along different directions. That property is called anisotropy. So coming to isotropy. Iso means same, tropos means direction. Isotropy means physical properties are same along any direction. If you can measure the physical properties like coefficient of thermal expansion or thermal conductivity, electrical conductivity, velocity of light, refractive index, those physical properties are same along any direction. Why? Because in these amorphous solids, the constituent particles are arranged randomly or disordered. Due to that random or disordered arrangement, constituent particles are randomly or disordered arrangement. Due to that random or disordered arrangement of constituent particles, the amorphous solids can show physical properties are same along any direction. So finally, examples of crystalline and amorphous solids. Examples of crystalline and amorphous solids. Examples of crystalline solids: quartz, diamond, graphite, and some metals: copper, gold, silver, etc. Metallic solids or metals, D black metals, copper, Az, Au, or any other 3D series, 3D, 4D, 5D series metals, quartz, diamond, and some non-metals also, crystalline solids. Non-metallic solids like phosphorus, sulfur, iodine. These are also observed in laboratory. Iodine crystals are also observed in laboratory. So phosphorus, sulfur, iodine. Some non-metallic solids are also in crystalline nature. So examples of crystalline solids are quartz, diamond, graphite, metals, 3D, 4D, 5D series. 3D, 4D, 5D series metals. They have a characteristic geometrical shape like body-centered cubic, face-centered cubic, hexagonal close packing, cubic close packing, simple cubic structures. Each metal has its own characteristic shape due to the difference in arrangement of constituent particles only. From one metal to another metal there is different shape. Why? Because there is difference in arrangement of constituent particles. So they have characteristic geometrical shape: copper, silver, gold, phosphorus, sulfur, iodine crystals. Amorphous solids examples. Examples of amorphous solids are plastics like PVC, polyvinyl chloride, polythene, all plastics. Glass materials. Glass or supercooled liquids are pseudo solids. Those are nothing but amorphous solids. Polymers, biodegradable polymers. Biodegradable polymers. Polymers are also amorphous solids. Quartz glass. Quartz is a crystalline solid, whereas quartz glass is an amorphous solid. Quartz glass and amorphous silicon. Amorphous silicon, it is a very important material used in photovoltaic cells. Amorphous silicon is used in photovoltaic cells. It converts light energy to electrical energy. Amorphous silicon is used in photovoltaic cells. Photo means light. Voltage regarding to electricity. So it converts sunlight is directly to electrical energy. Therefore it is very important amorphous solid. So finally my question is, how do you distinguish quartz and quartz glass? Quartz glass. Why quartz is a crystalline solid? Quartz glass is an amorphous solid. How they can prepare? So both are different means their preparation method is different. Can you think that? And coming to questions, why solids are rigid and why solids are having definite volume and shape? And what are the differences between crystalline and amorphous solids? And make out different examples of crystalline and amorphous solids. Thank you very much.